Welcome, everyone. We're going to wait a couple seconds just to allow some other attendees to join this webinar. Okay, hello. My name is Anna, and it's my pleasure as the Assistant Director of Constituent Relations to welcome you all to this 49er Industry Chat. Before we get started, we just like to remind you that the session is being recorded, and we'll have it available on our website at csulb.edu/alumni. Once it's posted, feel free to share with a friend, fellow alumni, or someone that you think could benefit from this chat. We also encourage you to utilize the Q&A to submit any questions for our guest speaker. My colleague Rosalinda will be moderating the chat during this webinar for us. And now I would like to introduce our alumni host, Keith Causey. Welcome. I'll start off by just reading your bio, and then we'll be able to jump right in. So Keith, a graduate from CSULB in 1987, is a strategic senior executive with extensive experience leading transformative initiatives across accounting, finance, shared services, and technology in Fortune 100 and Fortune 500 companies. He is known for driving organizational effectiveness, process efficiency, and implementing next-generation cloud and AI solutions. Keith is recognized for his results-oriented leadership, creating highly effective and forward-thinking agile organizations, leading digital transformations, focusing on cutting-edge technology and creating best practices, fostering continuous improvement cultures, and ensuring strong governance and compliance. Keith started his career at KPMG and has held senior executive leadership roles at Beckman-Coulter, DirecTV, General Motors, and Caesar Entertainment. Currently, he serves as Senior Vice President of ERP Cloud Transformation and Application Development at Oracle, where he shapes the future of AI-driven finance and advises global clients in their digital journeys. Keith, thank you so much for being here today, and welcome. Please feel free to say hello, and if there's anything I missed with your vast background.
No, I mean, with almost 40 years, it takes a while, but but anyway, nice to meet you too, Anna, and nice to be here. Uh, Look forward to the chat.
Wonderful. Okay, well, let's jump into the first question that we have. So first off, please start off with a little bit about your background and, what drove you to wanting to attend Cal State Long Beach?
Yeah, that's probably a little bit of the story, but I'm from a very small town, so Ceres, California. So about 10,000 people. I knew I didn't want to stay in Ceres, California. I wanted to do something different, but money was precious back then. So I went to Modesto Junior College and got my associate of science degree in business. That's where I took my first accounting class, and I don't know
Okay.
why, but it just really resonated with me. And then my cousin went to Cal State Long Beach, and he's a graduate there.
Oh,
And
wonderful.
yeah, and he spoke very highly of it. And so I decided to finish up my education at Cal State Long Beach. And it just so happened I got to live with my aunt and uncle. Thank goodness I could do that, because otherwise I probably wouldn't be able to go to a college away from home. Um, but yeah, that's kind of what brought me to Cal State Long Beach. And it was culture shock for me. I mean, going from 10,000
Yes,
people in
very
my
big
hometown
campus.
to 30,000 people on campus. I think the
Yes.
parking lot was bigger than my downtown area.
Oh my gosh, yes. We still
But
have
anyway,
massive parking. Yeah.
yeah. So
Wow.
so that's what brought me to Cal State Long Beach. Couldn't be happier that I did it. So my wife's from Cal State Long Beach grad too, by the way.
Oh,
So
we love it. We love when family keeps it in the Cal State Long Beach field. That's
yeah.
wonderful. And then, during your time at Cal State Long Beach, did you participate in any student activities or clubs while you were a student there?
I did. I mean, despite the fact that I felt a little overwhelmed by the size. And I was pretty shy back then, still a shy person actually, but I did get out of my shell. I met a friend, and he said we have to join the accounting society, so we joined the accounting society.
Okay.
and then also Beta Alpha Psi. And then I was also the president of Beta Alpha Psi my last
Oh,
semester
nice.
or last year. I was at Cal State Long Beach. So that helped me introduce me to a lot of different avenues from a finance
Hmm.
perspective, which is what I really need because I didn't know. I mean, all I knew was, that's the great thing about, going to a college like Cal State Long Beach. You get exposed to a lot of different
Right.
types of, opportunities. And so that allowed me to kind of form the opinion on, going into public accounting.
Okay. And so how did you know you wanted to pursue public accounting? Was it, being a part of those student clubs? What first sparked your interest in this industry?
Yeah, I mean, when I landed at Cal State Long Beach, I did well, back then, and this is going to date me again, but you guys all know my age by now. But I didn't know what a big eight accounting firm was, and they were big eight back then. Now it's still, I
Hmm.
think, big four. But I didn't even know what it was. And so, when I joined the accounting society, that's what it was all about, learning about these big eight accounting firms. They had a lot of recruiting events. I probably attended too many recruiting events. But yeah, just learned from there and then started to get to know them. I also looked at industry, but I really liked, the theoretical aspect of,
Hmm.
public accounting, the CPA. That was a challenge, to get that. And then just being able to help clients a little bit more broadly and see a lot more different industries, if you will, by going into public accounting. So that just really resonated with me. I really like transformation. And so it was also an opportunity to see different companies and help them through transformations. While I was at KPMG, I specialized in high tech and IPOs. So I worked a lot of long hours, but I can tell you it was worth it and enjoyed every minute of that too. It was hard work, but very rewarding.
Nice. And then
Yeah.
during your time at Cal State Long Beach, do you remember any classes or professors that may helped you prepare for that career you were, going to be joining in the accounting field?
I do, but they're long gone. I mean, Dr. Tillman was the man back, when I was at Cal State Long Beach, and he was retiring, I think, the last semester I was
Mm.
there. But I mean, he was iconic. I mean, he was an amazing guy, and there was Dr. Davidson. He was another guy. I'm not sure if he's there. I doubt he's there. I mean, it's been what 40 years, right? So
Been a little bit of
these were not young
time.
people back then. But no, I mean, they all had an impact. I mean, and everybody's just so excited about what they do,
Hmm.
and they cared about every one of us. And they were our mentors, if or helped
Hmm.
us with the accounting society and Beta Alpha Psi. So it's just a really good experience. If anything, and I think you're going to get this later, I wish I would have spent more time with the professors, to learn
Oh,
more
right.
from them outside of the class.
Yeah,
So,
just
but you don't know,
right,
So
right.
at that
But might be
time,
great advice, to offer students now
yeah,
that are
yeah,
at
we'll get to that in
university.
a minute, but yeah.
Yes. And so now, kind of jumping to when you were at KPMG, what skills or mindsets do you think you developed early on that you still rely on today?
Well, it's interesting because I would tell you that working in public accounting, you know, Cal State Long Beach definitely gave you the foundation for it, but it's so
Hmm.
different. When you're actually in and auditing a company, I mean, you have to use your entire brain. It's the technological piece, it's the logical piece. It's looking at things for accuracy, completeness. I mean, so it's just bringing all these different things together. And that's why I love finance, because I think you have to use your whole brain. And then I like
Hmm.
transformation and process, and I like cutting edge innovations.
Right.
And so, I think you can do that in any major that you have, but you can definitely control and do all those things in finance too. I don't think a lot of people do that, but I just like doing all of that. And so as a result, it just allowed me to kind of move up very quickly at KPMG.
Hmm.
Um, and then, that's kind of been a foundation that I um, built at KPMG, and it's just continued as I, went through my career. And so I like doing all those things. And then the other thing is, is you get to supervise people too. I mean, that's one thing that I think you have to care about people. And I think at KPMG, you have to lead a lot of different auditing groups, if you will, and for your clients. And so, you're also supervising, you're team building, you're building cultures and those types of things. And, all those things together create great organizations and allow you to be more creative and I think get better results. And so, from that foundation, I just kept building on it as I went through my career.
Yeah, and that kind of, leads me into that next question where with these early experiences and, growing at KPMG, especially in that finance or auditing, what gave you that confidence to take on more of those leadership roles?
I don't think I would have naturally gravitated towards it, but I think I showed a lot of competency in what I did and caring and hard work and
Hmm.
and bringing groups together to solve complicated things. That's the other thing. I like to take complexities and simplify them. So I tend to be pretty good at that, and I really enjoy it. Um, but when somebody asked me to do something that was out of my comfort zone, I don't think I ever said no.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Although it certainly increased your stress, but I just never said no. And you have to take those risks.
Hmm.
I mean, you can be so afraid of everything, but if you just take a risk, I think sometimes and stretch your abilities, I think that's how you kind of get ahead in life and in business in general. And it just helped me to continue to develop those skills as I went forward.
Yeah. And then I guess with that, is there a decision that you had made early on as a leader that you think you would do differently, knowing, all your wisdom and knowledge that you know now?
What I do differently.
Yeah. Was there like a learning moment or something that you kind of
I don't know. I look at
just
everything as positive. I don't
right?
I always take the positive out of everything I
Hmm.
do. I mean, one of the things that is not in my bio, but I helped lead General Motors through their bankruptcy. That was the largest
Oh,
bankruptcy
wow.
in the world. So, I mean, yeah, if I could do anything different, have influence, I would have had them, not focus so much on trucks and, you know, but, it was a perfect storm back then in the 2010. But, I don't think I would have done anything differently. It just, there again, it's a company. I cared for our people. I cared for the company. It was important, to the not only the U.S. economy but the global economy at the time. And so, you just roll up your sleeves and you get stuff done. You just don't look back. You just keep plowing forward, and
Hmm.
there's always an end to something in sight. And I don't know. I mean, I just don't regret anything, quite frankly. I don't know if I would have changed a thing. It's all been very positive from my perspective. And then here I am now at Oracle, and it's
Right.
kind of been a good, I guess I'm not going to say my final job in life, but taking all this expertise that I've been able to garner over time, and then try to help, recreate finance, with the Oracle team has been kind of very rewarding from that perspective. So anyway, that was a long, windy answer, but I don't have any regrets. I
Oh, that's
just
great
think
to
it's just
hear.
all positive, and you always take the positives and the negatives, and you try to shape yourself into the person that you want to be. And I think I've done that over time. So
Nice. And now, kind of, fast forwarding to you being at Oracle, what does AI-driven finance mean in, real world terms for maybe students that are not familiar with that and are also just entering the workforce now?
sure. Well, I'm not going to go through my whole presentation, but it's interesting. AI's been in um, our software for quite a long time, more than a decade. So it's not new.
Hmm.
What I would tell you is it evolved quite considerably, probably over the last 24 months. I mean, with the introduction of generative AI, which is
Right.
the more contextual piece, and then we quickly um, discovered agents, which is the combination of traditional AI and generative AI to do more natural language processing capabilities. And now we're taking agents and making them more agentic, having agents speak to one another to solve more end-to-end results. And so, I think the thing about AI and what we've been chasing for decades is really trying to transform the back office
Okay.
and take out manual process, quite frankly, things
Hmm.
that really don't need human intervention. From the day from the day I started at KPMG until now, that's what it's been all about. I mean, when I first entered the workforce, there were punch cards, and people thought, the counting was coming to an end because we were moving away from punch cards. We were going to start using PCs and software.
Right.
I remember when we got rid of Lotus 123 and replaced it with Excel, the world was crumbling. But the thing is jobs and people, we adapt.
Hmm.
And I think what we're seeing, with AI is yes, it is replacing what I would say manual processes.
Hmm.
However, it's creating new opportunities. And so those new opportunities are really the thing that people need to understand where they come into play. And so now we can solve things that we've never solved before with AI. So, I mean, if you think AI is data driven, and the thing about AI is it can process data, at the speed of light.
Right.
And so now you have these insights available to you as a human that you didn't have before that can help you become more creative or solve business things in a much more intelligent and speedier fashion, right? And that's what business is all about: is speed of decisions, speed of actions. So, I think the short of this is I think people need to look at AI as not to be fearful of it. I think they need to understand that it is a teaching and learning tool. The more you teach it, the more it learns, the more intelligent it becomes, but the more intelligent you become, so you can do your job better. So if you're in finance and you're going to college, I think the skill sets that you're developing now become even more important as you move forward, because now you're going to take those skill sets in collaboration with AI and invent these new AI driven outcomes to help business
Hmm.
become even better. So, and that's what we're doing every day: is what are those new outcomes that we're defining? Um, whether it be, replacing old traditional planning with now ongoing and real time predictions. So I'd
Right.
rather have a prediction that allows me to look forward very quickly so that I can see things that are coming so I can react to them.
Hmm.
Whereas before it was more looking backwards. So now we look forward. That's
Mm.
that's a much different way to think and a much different way to approach business. The thing that I'm looking at is, we used to be very process focused. Process will mostly be, handled by the machines. So now we're going to look at AI workflow for focus. And so what's an AI workflow look like? And the name of the game will to be to um, make things more agentic, which is touchless, as we move forward. So people are still going to be looking at those different and continuous process improvement capabilities and working with AI to continue to improve, this digitization and utilization of data as we move forward. Data becomes an asset now.
Right.
People didn't think of data as an asset. So now when you think about not only the alphanumeric component, but now we're going to contextualize that data in finance to drive natural language processing and that interaction that we can drive with AI. So to me, these are exciting things, not things to fear. And so that's that next evolution of finance that we're driving at Oracle, and it's very real. And as you can tell, I'm very excited about it and passionate about it. And this is what I do every day: is think about, how to bring organization, data, technology, and governance together in order to move finance forward. So anyway, fun stuff. So hopefully
Yeah.
I answered your
And
question, but these are long-winded. I can't help it
no, no,
myself,
you
but
did. And I guess, kind of again,
yeah.
touching upon that. So, especially working with companies with these and trying to teach them these new innovations, and from what you learned previously at KPMG and General Motors and where you are now at Oracle, can you speak into like what have been some of the more challenging parts of this career that you're in now? And maybe, if you want to share more on like those rewarding parts as well.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's challenges are rewarding too. So, I mean, you learn from every challenge, but I work with a lot of different customers and prospective customers. So, I mean, explaining what I just said, I mean, these are goals that we're trying to achieve. And so you have to recognize that companies are in different places. Some don't believe in
Hmm.
AI. Some think AI is a point solution. Some think, oh, AI is just going to replace everybody. I'm not going to need anybody, which is not
Hmm.
true. So, it's really, and that's what I try to do every day is just try to ground everybody. What is the current state? I don't know what it's going to look like in 10 years, but what can we achieve today? What's the foundation you need to have now? What are the
Hmm.
skill sets that you need to think about? How do you need to pivot your organization in order to be an AI driven organization? Um, and that's what I do is try to educate people that way and have
Right.
conversations with them. I don't have all the answers either. I mean, some of these things we have to develop together, but that's what's great about Oracle and is that I get to speak to people who are actually going through this transformation and help them out. But I also get to learn from them. And that's the one thing is you never stop learning. I mean, yes, I'm older and maybe on the back half of my career, but I will tell you as you get older, you want to learn more. It's not less. And sharing and collaborating and moving things forward in a positive way. That's why I'm at Oracle. And,
Hmm.
it's been very rewarding experience for me. And I get to see brilliant people at work every day and our engineers who are building this software,
Software, yeah.
and it's an honor for me to take that, and try to, take my experience to make it a more practical application and make it more real for our customers, to get the results that they expect.
Nice. And that kind of also, we just got a question in the chat. So, kind of also still touching upon this same concept of what's one AI capability you're working on that would blow the mind of a 1987 Keith?
Yeah. Natural language, I'm all about natural language processing. I think interacting with your data to help drive continuous process improvement or solve things that you weren't able to solve before with AI, um, it's just mind boggling, I think. And what's nice is, again, you're still part of the equation as a person.
Hmm.
AI is not to a point where it's going to tell you all the answers. It's going to help you to get there. But you
Right.
still have to be creative. You still have to prompt. You have to still interact with the AI. You still have to shape its decisions.
Hmm.
I mean, AI isn't in meetings, so it can't know everything that's going on. And so it's taking these skill sets now and the challenge of taking them down to the AI level. Uh, that's mind-boggling and so interesting to me. I think and that's the way people are going to work in the future. And when I say future, it's really now. Over this is a very pivotal year, I think, with AI and natural language processing. But that's very real and it's exciting to me. If I were in college, I'd be really excited about the potential here.
Mm. Yes. Yeah.
You
So
know,
a lot of changes, a lot of things that we're going to use to adapt. But yeah, AI could definitely be a
I'm
great tool to
sure.
use to help, find these new solutions
Yeah,
in whatever
and
your
I'm sure
career.
people are using it now. I use it. If I have an idea, I'll prompt it.
Hmm.
Um, it doesn't give me all the correct answers, but it helps get you started, right?
Right. Yes.
And that's where I really like AI is it helps me if it helps me unfreeze myself so that I can then start to really, think and expand my thoughts. And it gives you such a horizon of information, broad view. It's pretty exciting. So anyway, humans are not going away. I think if anything, we're going to use our brains more. It's going to be more analytical, more logical, and more creative. And I think that's everything you want to do. If you're graduating from college and using your new skill sets.
Nice. Good point.
Yeah.
And before this, webinar started, you kind of shared previously working at General Motors and at Caesars, you were overseeing, 10,000 plus employees, and now you're currently just a team of one. Can you kind of explain what your typical day looks like now in this type of position?
In this position,
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you're not doing any more performance reviews and overseeing a large
I'm
staff,
not. I
but
don't really miss that, by the way.
yeah, but
Maybe
what
my
is
own
your
performance review.
yeah,
But
what does your kind of day-to-day look like now working at Oracle?
well, I network a lot with our sales team. Um, and it's really a lot of what we're talking about here is really every moment of every day I'm thinking about how to utilize this new technology better, but then how to communicate and really apply it from a more practical perspective. And so, and it's amazing how this technology's changed so quickly just over
Hmm.
the 18 months. I mean, I blog. So if you want to go look up my name and you'll find some blogs, but from where I started, 18 months ago, blogging to where we are now, it's been a, significant change. So as a result, it's very interesting to me. It's very challenging. And so, just constantly updating that, and getting a feel of where, customers, what their thoughts are, what they're
Hmm.
struggling with, or how they're thinking about things. There's a lot of noise out there. Obviously everybody's got their own opinions on
Right.
how to do things. So it's just kind of understanding those opinions and how they compare to what we're thinking and doing at Oracle. Um, and really trying to make sure that, I try to unconfuse our business partners as much as possible, and just give them at least a perspective from an Oracle point of view. And so that's mostly what I do. I help our sales team, with customers. I'll help our customers with strategy and vision on their transformations. I do that quite a lot. I participate in a lot of steering committees for our customers on their transformation journeys, and do those things. And I actually partner with some academics, and we talk about AI a lot and where we're going, and you know be creative every day. So the outcomes are endless, and that's why it's an exciting industry to be in right now.
Yeah, it's ever evolving, always different challenges. It sounds like you're going to have with different customers, as you mentioned. Everyone has that
Everybody's
different
in.
starting point,
Yeah,
where they are.
yeah.
Yeah,
Or
and then
or I, it's kind of interesting because organizational change management and understanding data are the two things that companies need to understand, are the success factors that will make or break them in this
mm,
next level of transformation, because people's jobs change, so
hmm,
gaining that acceptance and, leading them through that change, being supportive, helping them get those new skill sets,
that's a lot of
showing them what you
coaching.
want. Well, I mean, vision. Every area has to have a vision. You can't just say, "Hey, I'm going to put in AI." It's like,
Yeah,
okay, but what's that look like? What am I trying to
right.
achieve? Because the things you're trying to achieve with AI are very different than the things that we're trying to achieve with process. So, and I'll just give one example. I'll look at our time here. But like accounts payable, yes, we can automate accounts payable, but we don't want to pay payables faster. That's not a business objective. But the thing is, we have our data quicker, and it's more reliable, and we can get more insights from that data. So now I can make spend decisions that are better for my working capital or cash flow. So that becomes the new vision. So now I want a better process led by AI so I can achieve these new outcomes. But now instead of managing payables and managing cash flow and working capital. So now we're thinking differently. So what are those other things that I want to put into that equation? What other data do I want to bring in to enhance the intelligence of my AI so I can make better decisions? And that's why I'm excited about this, because if people start to think that way,
Right.
then you shouldn't fear AI. It's allowing you to expand your thinking, your creativeness, and drive business better, right? Which is what we want to do every day from a business support perspective. Anyway, sorry about that, but
No, no, that's fine. That kind of
yeah.
also just touched, we just got a question in the chat too, which, you kind of helped touch upon that, which was how do you gain stakeholder support for large technological processor changes, especially in an environment that may be very hesitant to that change? So, yeah, I guess that organizational
Vision.
mindset.
Yeah, I think it has to start with vision, and I think leadership has to um, be in the transformation every step of the way.
Hmm.
Um, and that's another mistake companies do make is leadership kind of leaves it, to their people. And you can't do that when you're leading big change, because people have a tendency to want to do what they used to do.
Yeah.
And so as a result, you get those old biases in your new transformed processes or workflows. And sometimes it looks worse than it was before. So, you always have to have a leader with that vision who's, keeping people honest and making sure that they're on the right path in order to achieve, that objective. So,
Yeah. Yeah, very
so you have to
true.
walk the walk and talk the talk, and you have to, be accountable. So,
Yes, yeah, but good point too. It may be a little messy and frustrating in the beginning, but just having to
yeah.
develop those systems and processes to get you guys or whatever that company is, to that advanced system.
Yeah, and
Love that.
change management's difficult too. I mean, you're going to have people who are all in, and you're going to have people
Hmm.
who will completely fight you, and you're going to have those that are in the middle that you need to win over. And so I think you just have to realize that some people may not, be part of the team as you move forward, but you got to focus on building the team that will be there. But change is always going to happen. And I think people need to understand they work for a company, and a company's always driving positive change. And so you
Hmm.
have to have the mindset that you're always going to support that. Just because you like the way you do things, or the way that a piece of software that you think is the best piece of software, um, I mean, you can't think that way. It's always looking at things from a strategic perspective, and the strategic objective is constantly changing, which means your thinking and the tools that you use have to change along with that in order to change this,
Right,
to support that strategic objective. So you're
right.
part of a strategy, not an individual. So this is a team sport.
Yeah, good point. And
Yeah.
with speaking with all of this and technology now, what excites you most about shaping the future of finance technology at this global scale? And where do you kind of see it going?
What makes me excited about it? Well, again, I think it's removing the fear, helping people understand and embrace the change, and helping people to really understand how they can utilize and work with AI in a collaborative way,
Hmm.
versus fearing it. Will AI give you the answers to everything? No. Will it give you the answers to some of the things? Yes. But that's our jobs, is to enable AI to do those things, right? So yes, if I want AI to process my payables with 80% accuracy, it's not going to do that on its own. I have to be part of that team. So now I'm an AI enabler, and I think people need to understand that you're going to be an AI enabler, you're going to be an AI consumer, and you're going to still be a strategic part of a corporation. With the right collaboration with AI, you'll
Hmm.
you'll be driving higher quality, more intelligent and speedier outcomes. And so I think the more people understand that, and they understand the formula and how to get there, which is what we're building, I think the amount of change and value that you're going to see coming out of business is going to be pretty tremendous, quite frankly. And I think that's what's exciting to me, is to be part of that on kind of the cutting edge of it at this point in time.
Oh, thanks for sharing that. And what are some of the best ways you think you could recommend people to find opportunities that are kind of looking for a career in this field or even your previous fields? You know, did you do any internships? You mentioned you did a lot of networking, but what are ways that can help them get their foot in the door?
Well, I think the people here are business people, right? So, I mean, to get the job that I have, I guess you got to have 40 years of transformational experience at, global companies. I don't know, but seriously though, I think going back, to the college days, I think those like the accounting societies, the
Hmm.
beta alpha size, taking the advantage of the networking that you can do at this point in time, is really critical. And I think that helps you to understand what you like and don't like. And
Hmm.
the other thing is find your passion. I mean, change for me is my passion. I love driving change. So, I think you got to find your passion and also, you know, try to follow that passion. The more you can do that, I think the more successful you'll be, over your career. Um, the one thing I was going to mention too is, you're going to work with a lot of different people in your career, some good, some bad, some in between. Um, Always take the opportunity to shape yourself into what you think the best you is. And, look at, I learned from bad experiences, because I don't want to emulate those.
Right.
I learned from the great experiences and try to make those better. And I think, with that kind of a positive kind of attitude and approach, and knowing that you don't have all the answers and you're just constantly growing, I just think that's a successful formula. So I always try to coach people there. But as far as internships, yeah, I mean, I think, I think Cal State Long Beach, a lot of people are working full time. I worked full time when I was at Cal State Long Beach. I worked at Main Street Disneyland USA at Bank of
Oh,
America, which isn't
wow.
there anymore, but I worked full time as a teller. And so, I didn't have the opportunity to really go do an internship. I mean,
Hmm.
if you do, I think it's very worthwhile. Um, and again, try to do an internship into something that's very interesting to you, not just taking the job. And then if you do it, go all in. I mean, work
Mm-hmm.
hard, network at that company, get to know people, ask them these types of questions as well. I wish I would have done that more. When I was going through, I just kind of put my head down and worked really hard as I went. But there's so many people out there who want to help you,
Yeah.
to be successful. And I think finding those people, and I didn't have a mentor when I was going through it, I kind of just talked to a lot of people. But I think the more you do that, I think just the better you will become as you continue to move forward, especially if you're going through constant change. Like I think we're going to go through some pretty big change here in the next couple of years, and staying tight with people is pretty important. Unfortunately, I have a lot of people work from home like I do now, and I think
Right.
that's kind of a shame because I think being in person and is there's nothing as good as being with people and collaborating with people and moving ideas forward in that kind of an environment. I don't know how I would have done what I do if I would have been working from home all the time. So
Yeah.
get out, and I would say embrace going to work and collaborating and learning from others.
Okay. But you see, I mean, you mentioned you didn't have a mentor, but you think having a mentor in, the finance and accounting world, do you see that as something that's important? And, do you even have any mentees now?
I don't have any mentees now. I'll be open to it. um, but yeah, I do think it's important, particularly now. And this is a disruptive. It's disruptive phase right now, and I
Hmm.
think having people who've been there, done that, um, to help you through the anxiety of it. Yeah, I mean that at a minimum. And again, I think getting that good career advice on your path and what's the right path for you, and just constantly checking in with somebody on that,
Right.
getting their experience. I think those are very beneficial things. I would have been a little easier maybe if I had a mentor, but I'll tell you,
Seems like you turned out fine though.
back in the day, working 70 hours a week,
Yeah.
and that's what I did, picking the IPO high tech path. It was not easy, but I think everybody was a mentor. It was just, that's the thing about public accounting is you're always constantly getting feedback, whether you want it or not. So you kind of take it or leave it. But kind of everybody's your mentor because you're getting constant feedback. I can tell you that.
Okay. And, kind of just wrapping up with some of our questions, what advice do you have for 49ers that might be interested in, the career of accounting and finance, or even kind of in that world of what Oracle is doing now that
Well,
we
there's a
may have
lot
not
of,
touched upon? Again, you
yeah.
mentioned mentoring and, joining these association groups is great, but anything else that you would recommend?
Well, the one thing I would tell you, I was gonna before we end, the one thing I truly respect and kind of miss now is that connection from an academic perspective. Um, so the one thing I would tell people is don't lose the connection to Cal State Long Beach. Embrace that because you're always going to kind of going to want to continue to learn. And Cal State Long Beach, I know you guys have so many more programs now than you did that you can offer people for continuing education. I would just say take advantage of it because as you get older, you want to do more of those things. I'm not going to go back and get my MBA, but I still like to learn. And
Right.
and the other thing is you like to teach. So make sure you're just thinking about that as you move forward in your career. Don't lose that connection. But I don't know. I mean, as far as this career path, I go back to those accounting clubs, the societies taking advantage of all those on-campus activities. I mean, that's just a tremendous value that you're not going to get once you leave.
Hmm.
So take advantage of those now. I mean, after I mean, I think it's more managing your career once you're in your career. I had 5 year plans, right? Where did I want to be in at 5 years? And I was constantly managing myself to that 5 year path. I tell you, I hit them every time. A goal without a plan is a wish. And so, you have to have goals for yourself, as much as anything else. And if you have goals and objectives in your career, make sure that you're meeting those as you go.
Hmm.
I don't want to say it. Sometimes you do have to make career changes. Sometimes you don't. But those are good, honest conversations to have with your supervisors. Um, and the other thing is, some people don't want to move up either, and I think that's completely fine too. That could be your
Yeah,
five
good
year
point.
plan, as you really, really like what you're doing. And again, I think that's a good, conversation to have with your supervisor. If you really like what you're
Hmm.
doing and, you have other responsibilities like family or other things, that's okay too. Just have those honest conversations with your supervisor. I think you just have to realize that we're all in it together and it is a team sport and use people to help you manage your career and your stress level and anxiety. That's kind of the best advice I can give there. So anyway, take
Yeah,
advantage
that's
of those clubs and and those accounting societies. Beta Alpha Psi was awesome, so I hope it's still there and I still hope it's very strong. So it was very awesome program when I was there.
yeah, that's great. And a great point. Some people might not be interested in those leadership roles, so it's okay
It's
to
okay.
stay at
That's
that level if
okay.
that's what they want to do. Very good point.
Absolutely. You can still be very valuable and it can be very fulfilling. It's okay.
Nice. Let me see if there's any last questions we had in the chat I may have not touched upon. If anyone has one last minute question they want to throw in, we have about 1 more minute before we wrap up this call. I think we got it though, but looks like we might not have any more questions. So thank you so much,
Okay.
Keith, for joining us, sharing, the vast knowledge and your expertise and, your career fields that you had in the finance industry. We thank you for your time. Is there anything you want to say to before we wrap up this call?
No, I appreciate it, Anna, and I'm glad I could help out, and hopefully I'll be able to help you guys out as we continue.
Wonderful. Well, thank you. And once again, those that are attending, you'll be able to visit our that csulb.edu/alumni. It's at the bottom left-hand corner of your screen in the weeks ahead to view this recording. Again, you'll be able to share it with your network, and you'll also be able to view our upcoming virtual events that we have there as well. Make sure to follow us and Keith on LinkedIn. And thank you, and go Beach.
Go Beach.